There were some amazing opinions and comments after part one. And in part two today, we'll look at some more of those comments and look a little deeper into what might be happening in the future. If you didn't see the first video, part one, check it out right here. I'll link it up above. I've read all the comments and I've done a little bit more research. So here is how these changes are affecting people worldwide and primarily people involved with the ESL market. I'm Kristin, and my goal is to help ESL teachers worldwide share the English language with their students. These recent Chinese regulations have affected ESL teachers worldwide, here in the United States, in any other English-speaking country, and also in China. As a quick reminder, the CCP mandated that children up to age 18 cannot take supplemental core curriculum classes after 9 p.m. on weekends, on holidays, or school vacations. Also, off-campus tutoring cannot include overseas educational courses. There is a ban on hiring teachers who live overseas to teach Chinese students online. It was written that Beijing found ideological problems in private tutoring courses involving foreigners, and they must regain control. The first repercussion is that many jobs were lost. With the closing of many supplemental educational schools for children, many of these are specifically English language schools for young learners under the age of 6. China has the largest educational learning market in the world, with more than 400 million people learning English as of 2020. These mandates are issued by the Chinese Communist Party, the government, and are very strictly followed and monitored. There is no easy way to get around these new rules. The restricted times are prime teaching hours for ESL teachers, many of whom are not located in China. And they depend on this income to survive in today's difficult economy. We must also remember that Chinese employees were also let go from their jobs. As an example, VIP Kid, which has published that they're looking to revamp their business into additional markets outside of China, informed teachers that there will be no new classes with foreign teachers. This can possibly affect 70,000 plus teachers in the United States and Canada. Teachers are able to finish working with children they are in a contract with right now, but after that, they cannot work with new Chinese clients. Go Kid, which is owned by ByteDance, who in turn owns TikTok, has been shut down. All of those teachers just let go and no longer needed to serve students they don't have a legal right to educate any longer, according to the CCP. It is not just Americans and Canadians that are feeling this pinch. 51 Talk hires mostly Filipino teachers to work with improving children's conversational skills due to their excellent English levels and their understanding of Chinese culture. 51 Talk has stopped putting teenagers in contact with teachers for their conversation-based English classes. Many ESL teachers work with more than one company in order to make a full-time salary, and this only increased after the happenings in 2020. These closures, layoffs, or reduced number of classes has dumped thousands of highly qualified ESL teachers back into the market. As a consequence, it will be more difficult to get hired in positions available outside of China. The competition has increased dramatically. Do you know anyone personally who has lost their job or had their hours decreased? Now I want to move on to some comments that I received after part one's video. I've lived in China, Kunming, for 15 years, and a few of the training centers I know have closed down before this mandate. My wife is Chinese and I, American, was talking to her about this. I have a feeling that they'll also restrict adults with children too. Why? Let me offer you my reasoning. The reason will be because it will still take away the parents' time from their children along with their financial resources. So in short, they want the money the parents make to be put on raising their children without outside influence. Another factor is that their economy is tanking because of the virus and natural disasters like the floods. They want to keep the money from going outside the mainland. This viewer is convinced that the Chinese government is so focused on increasing that birth rate and decreasing the educational courses that the government may take the next step of restricting adults from taking courses too. I was personally thinking something along the same lines as this person here. And I really take what they say seriously because they are living in China. He has firsthand understanding and a feeling of what might be happening. So that might be something we need to watch out for. Another reader commented, "Do you think part of this is to help drive Mandarin as a global language, as it's the most commonly spoken native language in the world? Perhaps they are attempting to remove the strong influence of the English language amongst their citizens." That's also another great thought. And Mandarin Chinese and also Cantonese is indeed the most widely spoken native language in the world. But having lived in China myself and experienced firsthand their voracious appetite to acquire the learning of the English language, I think that's going to be very difficult for them to try to put that kind of ruling into effect, to kind of ban English and try to promote Mandarin Chinese as an international language. I just don't think it will happen anytime soon. Also, there are a multitude of positions still available for teaching jobs in China, and many of the ones I see are indeed for older students and adults because that is my actual market. But I've been told there are still positions that are being filled with foreigners. I truly believe the government will have a very difficult time restricting the learning of English, as is the same all across the world. If you have the money, you can get just about anything you want if you want it badly enough. And some of these parents are not going to let these rules and regulations stop them from giving their children the best advantage that they think they need to be successful in this world. Do you think the CCP will ever be able to restrict English lessons? And do you think they'll try to promote Mandarin as an international language? Let's look at a few more comments. "I work in a company that specifically targets adults and older teenagers. Most of the Chinese I have are expats living outside the country or in Hong Kong and Taiwan. This would be horrible news for Cambly, as China is a significant part of their market and lots of kids take classes. Now, working with Chinese teenagers who have already graduated from high school is allowed, but if they are still in school, it is not allowed. And even though Cambly is not solely directed at Chinese students, they make up a huge proportion of their market, and it will be interesting to see how they adapt going forward. I hope that the parents of the kids do allow them to be kids, at least for a little bit of the day. I know nothing about the culture, so I'm not judging. I'm just saying, me at 13, having to take classes all day, every day, even into the night, yeah, no. My attention span's way too short for that, LOL. I totally agree with this viewer. Even though I work with mostly older students and adults, I have taught some children of about 13, 14, around that age group. And I was often shocked when they told me that they had a class after mine, and our class ended at 10 p.m. Keep watching this story unfold because it is definitely not a story that is finished. More and more rules, regulations, and changes are going to happen because of this, and it's going to have an effect that I don't think we've seen all of the parts of it yet. So definitely stay tuned to this story. If you found value in my video today, please like, share, or especially subscribe, and stay tuned as this story unfolds, because if there's another change coming up, I'll do a part 3, I promise. Definitely leave a comment, share your suggestion, your opinion, or start a discussion in the comments. I read all comments and I answer all of them myself too. Never stop learning, and have a wonderful week.